Hey everybody, John Skiba here, and in this video I'm going to talk about the differences between Chapter 7 and Chapter 13 bankruptcy. I'm going to tell you which one is going to be better for your situation and just really what to expect from the process. But if this is your first time here to my YouTube channel, go ahead and click subscribe, check on that little bell. That way you'll get notified each and every week when I put out new content that'll help you deal with your serious debt problem. All right, let's talk about Chapter 7 and Chapter 13 bankruptcy. Here in my law practice, I do a lot of consultations every single day where I talk to people about their different options when it comes to bankruptcy. Most people have done some initial research into the different chapters and what they can do, what they can't do. And, a lot of people say, well, which one is better? Now, a lot of that will depend on what you're trying to accomplish with your bankruptcy, but in general, Chapter 7 is way better. I can have this be a really short video. Chapter 7, for most people, is what they're really looking for. When they think of bankruptcy, they're thinking, hey, I've got too much debt. I can't deal with this. I'm getting garnished. I just have all these credit cards or medical bills or whatever it is, and they want to get rid of it. Chapter 7 is really great at getting rid of credit card debt, medical bills, unsecured debts that don't have any collateral attached to them. They're discharged. They just go away. They're done. You're not legally responsible for them. And so if what you're facing is credit card debt, if it's medical bills, if it's those types of debts are the biggest problem, Chapter 7 is always where I look first to see if we can get that to help my clients out. I hear sometimes attorneys saying, oh, you should do Chapter 13. It's got so many more tools. There's so much more of this and that. It's just really long is what it is. So let's talk about that first. The length of time of how long these cases last. Chapter 7 bankruptcy cases usually last between 4 to 5 months as far as having an active case with the court. You file your case, the initial petition with the court, and then you get your discharge. The discharge order is the order from the judge that says you're no longer legally obligated on those debts. In a Chapter 13 case, it's going to be 3 to 5 years, and in most cases 5 years before you receive that discharge order. So it's a much longer process. The problem with that is that a lot happens in 5 years. I mean, think of 5 years ago of everything that's happened since then. That's how long you're going to be in this Chapter 13 case. So you may be asking yourself, okay, Chapter 7 is good for getting rid of credit card debt. I have credit card debt. I want it gone. You may be thinking to yourself, I want it done quickly. I don't want to be devoting the next 5 years of my life to this process. Why in the world would anybody file a Chapter 13? The main reason that people file Chapter 13, so there's two reasons. One is that they don't qualify for a Chapter 7 bankruptcy. Back in 2005, they revamped the bankruptcy code, and they instituted what's called the means test. And so now, in order to be able to qualify to file a Chapter 7, they're going to look at how many people live in your home, how much income your family receives each month, and then they're going to compare that to these tables that they have, which have the average income for a household of your size. And so if you make more than that, then you're usually not going to qualify for a Chapter 7 bankruptcy. There are some deductions that we can make, which we as attorneys do, that can help you to qualify even if your income is too high. But in general, if your income, particularly if it's significantly over that, you're not going to be in a situation where you're going to be able to file a Chapter 7 bankruptcy. So the first reason is you make too much money. If you make too much money, they can put you, your only option may be a Chapter 13, and then you're going to be in there for a 3 to 5 year period. And you're required to pay back a portion of your debts during that time period. That's one of the other little differences in Chapter 13. The other reason that people file Chapter 13s, even if they qualify for it, is because Chapter 13 does have a lot more tools in it than your typical Chapter 7 case. And particularly if you're dealing with something like a home foreclosure or if your car is going to get repossessed, Chapter 13 has some awesome tools in there that will allow you to be able to get caught up and stay in your home. So for instance, let's say you're behind on your house payment 4 months and the bank is saying they're going to foreclose soon. You can file a Chapter 13 bankruptcy. That'll stop the foreclosure from going forward. And then you have to propose a plan to your mortgage lender of how you're going to get those payments caught up over the next 5 years. So you have a long time to get them caught up. You have to start making the payment as it comes due each month. But it basically gives you a lot of time to be able to put the foreclosure on hold, get going on the monthly payments, and then have quite a while to get the rest of it caught up. So those are usually the two typical situations where we see people file a Chapter 13, is if they make too much money so they don't qualify for a Chapter 7, or if there is some type of secured debt, home loan, car loan, something like that, that they're trying to bring current. I guess I could throw out a third reason why people file Chapter 13. In Chapter 7, you're at risk of losing stuff. If you file Chapter 7, it's going to wipe out all that credit card debt. But if you have any assets that you own that are not protected by one of the exemption laws in your state, the court could seize the asset, sell it, and give the money to your creditors. Most states have exemptions that protect the basics, like the homestead exemption to protect your home, exemptions for for your cars, 401ks, IRAs, your household goods, those types of things. In most states, those are protected and they are exempt, so the court can't take them. But let's say you have a boat, you have a brand new boat that you just bought, it's all paid for, you file Chapter 7 bankruptcy. At least in Arizona where I practice, chances are super high they're going to go in, take that boat, sell it, and give the money to your creditors. Chapter 13, on the other hand, they're not going to take the asset. Having the asset will increase the amount you have to pay your creditors over 5 years, but you can keep the boat, still work your way through the 5-year process, paying off some of the debt along the way, but you can keep the boat through the process. So as a recap, the three reasons most people file Chapter 13 is they make too much money, they're trying to stop a foreclosure or bring current a home loan or car loans, so the car doesn't get repossessed, or if they have assets that are not protected in a Chapter 7 that they're going to lose. Unless you're dealing with one of those situations, I would look at Chapter 7. Chapter 7 is fairly quick, it can be fairly painless, and it allows you to move on. And not only that, you recover from it more quickly. Chapter 7 will stay on your credit for 10 years, but most lenders, like if you're trying to get into a home, like FHA, they will loan to people who are 2 years outside of their Chapter 7 bankruptcy. Other lenders are 3 to 4 years. So you can recover more quickly as opposed to a Chapter 13 where you're in an active bankruptcy for 5 years, and that can limit the possibilities as far as getting credit extended to you just for the reason you have an active case. So I know I kind of threw a lot at you there, but this is a question I get every day, and I wanted to just talk about some of the, which one is better. Chapter 7 is almost always better. But, and when I work with clients, that's where we try to put our focus, because that gets the most instant relief, get you in, get you out, and that'll allow you to move on with life. But there are a few scenarios where a Chapter 13 makes a lot more sense, and in fact, it may be the only option if you make too much money or if you have assets that you're at risk of losing. So I hope that helps out. Check out my other videos here. I have a bunch of other videos on bankruptcy that can kind of walk you through what the process is, help you understand exactly what a Chapter 7 or a Chapter 13 will look like in your situation. Thanks for watching today.